But one of the attributes of the Creator of the universe, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is that He is the preserver. And this is a great comfort to us because it tells us that nothing we ever do will be lost. On the day of judgment, every good deed, every good thought, every good intention, every good hope, we get credit for. And Allah knows what no one else does. So if you get recognition within this life or not, it's not important. What's important is that Allah is the preserver, and since He's also the judge, He's also the reckoner, then the fact that He preserves everything is very important. But something that goes along with the knowledge that He's the preserver is that there's a hadith that says that when somebody intends to do a bad thing, the angel hesitates and doesn't write it until the person does the bad thing, and then it's written as one bad deed. And yet if a person intends to do something that is good, the angel rushes to write it immediately. It's written as a good deed just by thinking that you would like to do it. You get credit for it. And then if you actually do it, you get credit of 7 to 70 to 700 times. So you see the way Allah preserves the good and preserves the opportunity. Well, these stones actually show that, and the only way you're going to see them is to come up here and look at them. That these are fossils. These are ferns that were in mud and over a period of time hardened to stone. And you can still see the ferns, and it looks like it was tiny little paintings, very delicate, painted with one hair. They call it scrimshaw. Scenic pictures. They're beautiful little forest scenes, which this one has a sunset in it, as well as a little river, and just they're very beautiful. But they remind you that Allah is the preserver, and it reminds us how lucky we are on that. I have another example of that I use. The bag that I carry, okay, I call it my teaching bag. And I have within it, I have stones which give me an opportunity, because people will stop and ask me about this stone or that stone, and it gives me an opportunity to share Islam. I take every way I can to give people an opportunity to ask me about Islam so I can share it. And when people see the beautiful stones dangling from my bag, they always ask me, well, what is that? And then I can start sharing with them a little bit about Islam. And the stones here, most of them you will have to come down and see. But there's one here that this one is called a moss agate, and it used to actually be moss in water. And over time, even the minerals in the water hardened to make stone. And so it still looks like it's moss in water when you look through it. But again, Allah is the preserver, and as He's preserved all of these for all times for us, it can remind you, it can assure you that there's no way that anything you ever do will be lost, because Allah will not permit it. He's the preserver, and we know He's infallible, and He never misses a beat. And that should give us a lot of courage and a lot of strength, because it frees us from the dependency upon the approval of man or the recognition of man. Because when you recognize that the approval of man or the recognition of man is not the thing that's going to get you into heaven, then you become free to act and react as Allah has ordered. And that's very important, because a lot of times we're afraid to do things, we're afraid to make changes, we're afraid to interact in different ways, because we need so much to have the approval of man. Okay? The approval of man is not what's going to get you into heaven.